Chinese trade negotiators say they have made, quote, substantial progress with the United States after 2 days of trade talks. In a statement, the Chinese team says the discussions covered agriculture, intellectual property, exchange rates, financial services, expanding trade, technology transfer, and dispute settlement. The two sides also spoke about future negotiations and agreed to work towards a final agreement. Chinese Vice Premier Liu He has been meeting with the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin in Washington. So, for the very latest on these talks, let's get over to our correspondent Nathan King, who's standing by live for us in Washington. So, Nathan, the word is substantial progress has been made. What's that mean?
Yeah, substantial is the key word coming out of these two-day talks. U.S. President says a substantial deal, at least on phase one, is within reach. Chinese saying substantial progress. But what I can tell you, when it comes to actual movement, there will be no tariff hike on October 15th from 25% to 30%. On $250 billion worth of Chinese imports here. That has been frozen while these negotiations continue. And we had a very upbeat US president in the Oval Office just behind me here as he sat across from Liu He, the Vice Premier, after these negotiations. Let's take a listen.
I think the relationship in certain ways may be better than it's ever been. We've been through a very tough negotiation. There's never been a negotiation like this. In all fairness, I give China tremendous credit because for 25 or 30 years, they've done very well with the U.S. And now we're doing something jointly. We're doing it.
So real talk of sort of cooperation and coming together there, very different from the divisive language that we've heard from the US side over the last 15 months of this trade war. What US President Donald Trump also said was that China had committed to some sort of tens of billions of agricultural purchases over a period of time we don't know, and that he thinks the deal could be inked in the next 3 to 5 weeks, potentially, at least phase one of it. And he hasn't quite worked out whether it's there's going to be 3 phases or 2, but phase one of the deal by the time the two leaders are set to come together in Chile in about 5 weeks' time.
So Nathan, progress, no tariff hike for now, but what are the main sticking points to actually reaching a final deal?
Well, we've known these for a long time, haven't we, Jonathan? That the US asks about intellectual property protections, technology transfer, state subsidies, all of which China has been addressing in terms of its own national laws, perhaps not at the pace that the US wants, is what they still want. China, of course, wants guaranteed access to US technology, not using of sanctions and putting various companies on entities lists and open door for investment. We've known what the sticking points are for a long time. So both sides know how they could probably work through. The question is political will, and I think we've really seen that. But there are other sticking points. Huawei, for example, as we know, the world's biggest telecommunications equipment maker, still on that entities list. Another 28 Chinese entities just been added to that. Differences over Hong Kong, although the US president really indicated that he's not going to get involved with Hong Kong in the Oval Office meeting with Liu He. But there is, a feeling here in the US and in China that it's not just going to be about small purchases of agricultural goods and relaxing of tariffs. And remember, all these tariffs still stay at the moment. They're just not going up. We've got another deadline of December 15th when a lot of consumer goods could be tariffed as well. So optimism, substantial progress is the key word, but we're not there yet. Stay tuned.